Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. All right, guys, if I can have everybody please remain on mute until such time as your case is called. We are now live on YouTube. Once your case is called, please unmute yourself so that you can be identified as being present. Attorneys, please know the number on the docket. If you can please know the number on the docket, you should have received a docket with today's link for today's Zoom meeting. On that docket that you received, you will know the number on the docket. That'll help us go through the docket relatively quickly. If you are ready to make an announcement, if you see your client present and you're ready to make an announcement, please give me a reaction button by raising your hand. I do have Mr. Solis, who's present here, Jose Solis, who's present here in the courtroom, and we'll get started with him. Mr. Solis, what number on the docket, or what, number 64? All right, this is number 64, 11913H, Xiomara Elizabeth Valadez. It's a motion to suppress. State was granted a motion for continuance on September 2nd, and defendant's motion for continuance was granted on December 22nd. I'm sorry, October 22nd. All right, defense is present and ready. What says this?
Your Honor, at this time, the state's president and not ready. We did send out a subpoena to Officer Leroy Martinez with Palmview PD. We have had no contact with him. I made multiple attempts via phone, as well as by contacting the police department. I don't know if he's present in the courtroom. A subpoena was sent out. At this time, we'd be requesting a motion for continuance if he's not there.
All right, Mr. Solis.
We will respectfully object to a continuance, as the court has noted. This would not be the state's first continuance due to the officer being unable to be here. Additionally, the state, I don't believe they've given us proper notice for a continuance on this case, Judge. So we will just respectfully object.
All right. Based on the state already asking for a motion for continuance and the court granting that motion for continuance, the court's going to go ahead and deny state's motion for continuance at this time. Does the state have any other witnesses to present?
No, Your Honor, given this court's ruling today, the state will be tendering a dismissal in this matter.
At the request of District Attorney's Office, the case against Xiomara Valdez is hereby dismissed. Good luck to you, ma'am. You're excused. All right. Good morning. Cecilia, what number? Do you know the number on the docket by? Ramirez, you said, right?
Let's make sure if anybody's wearing caps or hats, make sure you do remove them. Si traen gorras o sombreros, se los quiten, por favor.
Oh, yes. This is number 49, CR 21009818H, Cecilia Ramirez. Is Ms. Ramirez present? Okay, she's online. All right. I do see that Ms. Ramirez is present and is here, so the NYSI will be recalled. At this time, the court's going to go ahead and recall that at the state's expense. Ms. Ramirez, I'm going to recall it at the state's expense, meaning there will be no additional cost to you at this time. However, if a judgment NYSI is taken out in the future and you are not present, then you will have to pay to get that NYSI recalled. Do you understand that, and does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, at this time, there will be no fees. Mr. Arredondo, your announcement in terms of dates. All right, I can give you, let's say, let me give you March the 24th. March 24th, 2022 at 9:30, okay? Ms. Ramirez, stay in contact with your attorneys. We'll see you on March 24th at 9:30. You're excused.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, Carlos Garcia.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have number 67 on the court's docket, Josiah Zapata. He's on the Zoom link, Judge.
All right, that's CR 2107741H, Josiah Caleb Zapata.
Correct. Your Honor, we're respectfully asking for a little bit more time. We just executed the PTD application in this case. I do believe he's a good candidate. He doesn't have any prior convictions of any kind, and so we're trying to get that set up if the court would give us a short reset.
All right, how much time do you think you need on that, Mr. Garcia?
Judge, if the court would give us something next month.
Okay, sure. I can give you, how about I give you March the 8th? That's a little bit more than a month. Or do you need it? I mean, I can give you February. That's not a problem. It's just
no, Judge. Actually, if we could go beyond that, on that date, I'm going to be out of state, and so I don't want to. I want to make sure it gets done correctly, and so if the court would go a little bit beyond that.
Okay, March 22nd.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, at 9:30, March 22nd at 9:30. Mr. Zapata, stay in contact with your lawyer. We'll see you on March 22nd at 9:30.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a good weekend.
You too. Let's move over to Mr. Alamia. Richard Alamia,
Morning, Your Honor.
good morning.
I got 27, 28, and 29. Karen Garza.
27, 28, 29, CR 1908, 953H, CR 1908, 954H, CR 1812, 258H, State of Texas versus Karen Garza. Is Karen Garza present?
Yes, Your Honor. She's on the Zoom.
All right. I know we had granted a motion for continuance before, so she must be present here today. Ms. Karen Garza, I do see her there. Mr. Alamia, your announcement.
Well, Your Honor, she's got a felony pending in the 464th. Except for status on the 31st of January. We might be able to resolve the criminal case in the felony court and maybe resolve at the same time the misdemeanors. I would like to have a date after January 31st, maybe the latter part of February or the first part of March.
Okay. All right. How about, I can give you, well, how about I go into March and give you March the 8th, if that's okay.
That's fine, Judge.
If you need a date sooner than that, and we can help you in whatever way, we're here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're just trying to make sure that we keep our dockets somewhat level so that you don't wait forever. So
Yes, Your
at this
Honor.
time, let me go ahead and give you March the 8th. If you need a date sooner, just call us and we'll take care of it.
Thank you, Judge. May I have issues?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Espinosa, Emmanuel Espinosa.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have number 9 on your docket, Jonathan Alvarez.
That's CR 21-07-911H. Jonathan Alvarez. This is a bond modification. Mr. Espinosa, I have a note here that says to ask Victoria, what do we have, Victoria?
Morning, Judge. Yes, with Mr. Alvarez, he has the breathalyzer with recovery. And on his report from December 27th through January 26th, there were 26 missed tests. Now, it seems from the report, and I also spoke to a representative from recovery yesterday, there may be an issue with his battery charger, but he has not contacted recovery about that.
Is Mr. Jonathan Alvarez present?
He should be here on the Zoom link. Your Honor.
I do see him there. Mr. Alvarez, you're on mute right now.
Spanish speaking, Your Honor.
Spanish speaker, Carlos, can you translate, please?
¿Tú puedes encender su micrófono, señor Álvarez? Yes,
Good morning, Mr. Alvarez, I understand that you may be having some trouble with your device. Is that correct?
señor Álvarez, entiendo que a lo mejor tiene problemas técnicos con su aparato. ¿Es correcto?
Sí, es correcto.
Yes, correct.
All right, Mr. Alvarez, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and you make contact with the provider.
Señor Álvarez, voy a pedir que hable con la compañía de su aparato
so that we don't continue to have these type of problems in the future.
para ya no tener estos problemas en el futuro.
All right. Today is just going to be a verbal admonishment. I'm going to go ahead and give you a verbal admonishment asking that you please look into that. We can't continue to have missed tests. The court views missed tests as positive tests, but I'm going to go ahead and treat this as a verbal admonishment. Stay in contact with Mr. Espinosa. He'll tell you everything you need to know or give you some information if that's what you need.
Pero ahorita nomás le voy a dar unos avisos verbales. Esta es la única vez que le voy a dar estos avisos verbales porque en el futuro ya no le voy a dar avisos verbales porque yo tomo los exámenes cuando los fallas como que si fueran positivos. So, que es en comunicación con su abogado y él le va a explicar todo.
Ok, quisiera saber si no puede cambiar los tiempos. Por cuestión de mi trabajo, se me complica un poquito los tiempos que me dieron.
I would like to see if the hours could be changed because it complicates things with my job, with the hours that they gave me.
All right. What hours do you work, sir?
¿Qué es su horario de trabajo?
Mi horario de trabajo es de 7 a 5.
From 7 to 5.
7 in the morning to 5 at night?
7 de la mañana, 5 de la tarde.
Sí, correcto.
All right. And which is the hour that, what's the one that you're having some difficulty with?
¿Y cuáles horas son las que usted tiene dificultad?
Es que como yo trabajo en construcción, a las 7 pues es el inicio del turno, ¿verdad? Y a veces se me complica un poquito soplarle porque estamos acomodándonos con la herramienta.
Okay, but you can start, but you can test as early. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But since I work in construction, the 7 o'clock one is difficult for me since we're getting all our tools together, and that's where it gets difficult.
But Mr. Alvarez, you can test as early as 6 o'clock in the morning.
Señor Álvarez, puede hacer el examen hasta desde las 6 de la mañana.
Ah, ok, eso no, yo no lo sabía.
Okay, I did not know that.
Ms. Rodriguez, his window is from 6 to 8, correct?
I'm trying to check the schedule with recovery, Judge, because it may be different. But I can contact recovery and Mr. Alvarez after docket so we can figure something out.
Perfect. Let's make sure that the window is open enough to where he can take it as early as 6 in the morning, from 6 to 8.
Okay.
I'm assuming if it's a 7 o'clock test, it's not, if there's a window, and so. Okay, Mr. Espinosa, what kind of, I'm assuming you need some additional time on this case?
Yes, Your Honor. We can get a reset.
All right. And let me go ahead and give you March 22nd, 2022 at 9:30, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further. May we be excused?
Mr. Alvarez, stay in contact with your attorney and we'll try to work on those windows for you, okay?
Señor Álvarez, quédese en comunicación con su abogado y vamos a tratar de resolver el horario con usted.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're excused.
Se puede retirarse.
All right. Mr. Garcia, did I miss something with you or did you miss a case?
Your Honor, I apologize. I neglected to announce my client was both number 67 and number 68 on the docket, Judge. It's the last one. I just don't want to, I didn't want to leave that out.
Okay, sure, no problem. 67, 68, they're both going to be reset for 3/22.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Mr. Aguirre, I don't know if you're on the phone. It looks like you are, but maybe you're not. Okay,
No, Judge, just another old school headset here.
all right. What number do you have?
Your Honor, I got number 30, 31, and I believe number 66. The defendants have different, it has a different name, but I think it's the same defendant. I would ask the name be called 3 times. I did email them yesterday. Emailed her yesterday and this morning, and I called as well. I've not heard anything back, so I don't know if she's on.
Let's go ahead and call number 30 and 31. That's CR 21081-917H and CR 2108916H. State of Texas versus Maria Garza. Is Maria Garza present? If you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Maria Garza. Maria Garza, if you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Maria Garza. Seems that no one's responded to the name of Maria Garza. What says the state?
Your Honor, state request judgment nice to be granted, keep issued and bonds forfeited to the state of Texas.
Judgment nice shall be granted. KPS issue bump over to the state for the arrest of Maria Garza. Now let's move on to, you said 65.
66, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, 66, CR 2101551H. Leticia Marie Villegas. Is Leticia Marie Villegas present? Leticia Marie Villegas, if you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Leticia Marie Villegas. All right, this one also is a no-show. This was a bond modification. We did have a violation. It seems that there was one positive BAC. What says the state?
Your Honor, state request judgment nice to be granted, KPS issued and bonds forfeited to the state of Texas.
Judgment nice shall be granted. KPS issue bump over to the state for the arrest of Leticia Marie Villegas.
And Your Honor, for the record, I believe it's the same person as the last case you called, Maria Garza. The reason I was asking for an arraignment is to put her identity on the record, just to be clear.
So Leticia Marie Villegas is the same person as Maria Garza?
It appears so, Your Honor. It looks like they got the same booking photo. I think it is the same person. I'm not sure. They're shown in the jail bookings the same AKA. So
It does show up as an AKA, Judge.
Perfect. Okay, well, I guess Maria Garza, also known as Leticia Marie Villegas, judgment ISI is taken out for that individual.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I also have number 36 on the court's docket, Ana Isabel Guerrero, and I believe she is logged in. I saw her earlier.
CR 2109076H, State of Texas versus Ana Isabel Guerrero.
Yes, Your Honor. As the court knows, I kind of got on late on these cases. I was reviewing the discovery, and just as custom, I ran a conflict check. We do have a conflict in this case, Your Honor. I just kind of discovered that yesterday afternoon. I did not have time to submit a motion to withdraw. I did discuss it with my client. She understands the conflict, but respectfully, I would ask the court to appoint another attorney.
Ms. Guerrero, I do see that you are present. Do you have any objection to the court assigning another attorney to you?
No, I don't, officer.
Okay. Mr. Cavazos, you're next on you're next to be called. Are you available for an appointment?
Judge, I recently got off the wheel, Judge.
Okay, no problem. Ms.
Thank you, Judge.
Garza, are you on the wheel?
Yes, Judge, I am.
And are you available?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove Mr. Aguirre from the Public Defender's Office as a result of a conflict, and I'm gonna appoint Dora Garza. So Dora Garza, you will be appointed to represent Ana Isabel Guerrero. Let me go ahead and give you a cause number. That's CR 21090768H. And I'm gonna put you in a breakout room, Ms. Garza, so that you can visit with Mrs. Guerrero.
Yes, Judge.
But before I put you in that breakout room, I'll take your announcement. So I'll take an announcement here shortly, then I'll put you in a breakout room with Ms. Guerrero.
Your Honor, I think that's all I have this morning. May I be excused? So
You're
get to the
excused.
court.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. I'll forward you the discovery that I have.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me just take a note of this one real quick, but before I put you in a breakout room, Ms. Garza, let me take an announcement from Mr. Cavazos, and then I'll put you all in a breakout room.
Good morning, Judge. Jaime Cavazos here. I'm here at number 41 and 42 in your docket, Judge, and Ms. Lara is present.
All right, 41 and 42, that's CR 21095388H and CR 21095339H, State of Texas versus Brianna Lara. All right, and your announcement, Mr. Cavazos?
Yes, Judge. We had lost contact, but we were able to reach her, and she will be applying for a PTD, Your Honor. So we're just asking for some time. The March 22 date works for us if it works for the court.
Perfect. March 22nd, 2022 at 9:30. Ms. Lara, stay in contact with Mr. Cavazos. We'll see you on March the 22nd. It's March 22nd, 2022 at 9:30, okay?
Thank you, Judge. That's all we have. May I be excused?
You're excused. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.
You too. All right, Ms. Garza, let's talk about what case you have, and then I'll put you in a breakout room with this new client that I want you to get some information from, and y'all can exchange information.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm here on number 55, David Rosales.
55 is CR 2111-021H, State of Texas versus David Campos Rosales. If Mr. Rosales is on mute, he can unmute himself. David Campos Rosales. David Campos Rosales. You're on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Judge, he is aware of the hearing, but I don't see him unless he's not identified, Judge. There's a lot that don't have the name.
I'm not showing that there's a motion for continuance that was ever used. I can grant you that if that's your request.
Yes, Judge, I do need more time to work this out.
Let me go ahead and give you a motion for continuance granted. Reset this case for March the 8th, 2022 at 9:30. You will need to be present at that time or a warrant will be issued, okay?
Yes, Judge.
Do you have any other clients?
No, Your Honor, that's all I have.
Okay, I'm gonna put Ms. Garza. Yeah. Go ahead and put Ms. Garza. Let's see. Ms. Garza and then Ms. Ana Guerrero in a breakout room. Once you all are done, you all are excused, okay?
Do you have, Judge, what was the new date on this case?
On Ana Guerrero?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you the same date that I gave you on the other one.
Okay, March 8th?
March 8th, yes.
Okay, Judge, thank you.
March 8th, 2022 at 9:30.
Yes, Judge,
All right, the invitation was just sent.
thank you.
All right, let's go to Mr. You know what? I have two individuals here. I have Mr. Nitch and Mr. Kennedy. Let's start with Mr. Nitch. What number on the docket? 23 CR 11-12-661H, Flavio Enrique Garcia. I think I did see Mr. Flavio Garcia online. Flavio Garcia. I do see him there with a red shirt, Flavio Garcia. Mr. Nitch, I understand that there's an active NISA. Are you here to recall that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is that the warrant?
Yes.
Okay, I see Mr. Garcia present. The court will go ahead and recall the judgment nisi at the state's expense. No problem. Carlos, will you let him know that the court is recalling the judgment nisi at the state's expense since this is its first recall?
Señor García, la corte le va a hacer un lado su orden de arresto, como esta es la primera vez que le ponen la orden de arresto, pero va a ser la única vez.
All right, Mr. Garcia, you're raising your hand.
Yes, Judge, we do have an announcement on this case, being that this is a 2011 case and the fact that it's 11 years old, or almost 12 years old at this point. We will be tendering a dismissal given that the case is too stale to prosecute.
The request of the District Attorney's Office, a case against Flavio Garcia is hereby dismissed. Yeah, the NISA will be recalled with the dismissal. So case is taken care of. Let him know, Carlos.
En adición, el fiscal determinó que le va a retirar el caso, so ya se va a terminar su caso.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Garcia?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta, señor García? Y está apagado su micrófono.
You're on mute.
Encienda su micrófono.
¿Sí me escucha?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sí.
Sí. ¿Qué más sigue? ¿Qué más tengo que hacer?
What
Nothing.
is left? What else do I need to do?
Nada, nothing.
Nada, señor.
Ok, entonces nada más ir con mi abogado.
Then just go with my lawyer.
Your case has been dismissed. If you have any questions, you can reach out to him, but otherwise nothing else is needed to do. You don't need to do anything else.
Ya le retiraron su caso. Si tiene alguna pregunta, pues puede llamarle a su abogado, pero ya no tiene que decir nada.
Muy amable, muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Your excuse, sir.
Ya se puede retirar, señor.
Muy amable, gracias.
Thank you.
Mr. Kennedy, what number do you?
Judge, I've got number 4, 5, and 7. And Mike Rogers represents the same time.
So 4, 5, 6, and 7. So Alexander Aleman. Is Alexander Aleman present? Alexander Aleman, if you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Alexander Aleman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, I do see you there under iPhone, okay?
Just for you, when I conferred with Mr. Aleman, he's instructed me to work alongside Mr. Rogers to work out a fee deal. He's giving me the few weeks so I can reach out to the state. Figure out what we can do.
Sure. Let me go ahead. The state, Mr. Kennedy is announcing that they'd like to reach out to the state to see if something can get worked out. I'm going to go ahead and give them about 3 to 4 weeks out down the road and set it up in an afternoon. Let's do February 22nd. February 22nd, 2022 at 2 o'clock.
Judge, and if I could ask the state, if they could maybe send an email out to me, Mr. Rogers, together with the random officer.
Sure. What Mr. Kennedy is requesting, in case y'all didn't hear, is that he's asking for a recommendation by way of email. So if the state can reach out to Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Rogers with a plea agreement or plea recommendation, we're going to set it up for February 22nd, 2022 at 2. That's all 2s. You guys can't forget that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lawyer's commercial. 222222222.
And Judge, we did send out a recommendation yesterday. We'll send up follow-up paperwork to Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Rogers, and hopefully we can get something worked out.
All right, February 22nd at 2. Thank you. You too. Mr. Aleman, you are excused.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Longoria.
Morning, Your Honor. I'm here on a motion to suppress.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. No. Let me get with Representative Longoria real quick. It's a motion to suppress.
Yes, Judge. I'm here on a suppression on 5657. Hello to the other Longoria.
5657. Okay. And your announcement, this is a Christian Rubio. Is Christian Rubio present?
Yes, Judge. I believe you are.
Okay. And your announcement, Representative Longoria?
We're ready to go, Judge.
Okay, Rep. Defense is ready. What says the state?
Judge, state is ready.
State is ready. This will be in person or over Zoom?
Over Zoom, Judge.
Okay. So defense is ready. State is ready.
And the trooper is on standby, Judge.
Okay. And on standby for a Zoom hearing, or for a Zoom?
Yes, I will advise him when to log on. I just didn't want him to have to sit through an entire docket because I wasn't sure what time we were going to begin.
Gotcha. Okay, Rep, if it's probably gonna take me a good hour before I get started with that Zoom hearing, in case you want to log off, maybe we can give you a call and you
Yes,
can log
Judge.
back on.
Sounds perfect,
All
Judge.
right, I am gonna ask Mr. Rubio to stand by on here, but you're excused in case you need to go take care of other
Thank
business.
you. Thank you, Judge.
No problem. Mr. Dan Longoria.
Yes, Your Honor. Number 62, Rigoberto Sanchez, he should be logged on and he's English speaker.
Okay, number 62, CR 2104558H, Rigoberto Saldana Sanchez. Rigoberto Sanchez, if you're on mute, please unmute yourself, just to
Yep.
identify yourself. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Longoria, your announcement.
Yes, Your Honor. I've talked to Mr. Sanchez. We've gone over the evidence. Judge, we're going to be asking for a pretrial in a trial setting.
Okay, so all other, everything else is trying to, you've attempted everything to try to work it out, and you're not going to be able to work out, and you're asking for a trial date.
Yes, Judge. We've discussed the facts of this case, and he'd like to go to trial.
Okay. Let me go ahead and give you May the 26th, that's 5/26/2022 at 1:30 for docket call. May 31st, 2022 at 1:30 for trial, okay?
Sounds good, Your Honor. I appreciate
Mr.
it.
Sanchez, stay in contact with your attorney. You're set for trial on May 31st, okay?
Appreciate it, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Longoria?
No, Your Honor. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Salinas, Rick Salinas.
Your Honor, I represent Rogelio Morales Salazar, who's on the screen. And it's in a case number, it's docket number 58, CR 19-11-764-H. And
all right. Rogelio Salazar, defendant, this is a bond modification. Defendant was placed on AIP and ordered to obtain a scram device in Stanter. I understand he has new misdemeanors at intake. And it says, ask Victoria. Victoria, what do we have here?
Yes, Your Honor. When we placed him on AIP, they have been trying to contact him for the intake, so he never answered or anything. So really, he hasn't been monitored by AIP. And he also never obtained the scram device.
All right, let's
my
see.
understanding.
So Jesus made wine out of water. Let's see what Mr. Rick Salinas can do here.
Judge, my understanding was that there was a capias that was taken out for him because he was arrested on the 15th of December. He was released on the 17th, and the capias was taken out on the 16th. So I was asking the court to recall the capias. My understanding is that he's got two devices, one in his vehicle and a handheld device.
And have those been monitored? Are those active? Are they not active?
He does have the mobile with safety check. However, he misses several tests. The December report, he had 91 missed tests, and he has 3 positive tests, and that's just December. I have several for January as well.
I wasn't his attorney, Judge. I just jumped in. Previous to this, he had Mr. Rodriguez that was representing him. I did have a meeting with him, and he's had a series of health issues. I don't know if we can restart the clock. I don't know if the court's inclined to do that, but obviously, I believe I've got a little bit of control over Mr. Salazar Morales, or Morales Salazar. He picked up the first DWI back in 2019 and the second DUI in 2021, Judge. This past December.
All right, let me see. Rogelio Salazar, if you can identify yourself. Rogelio Salazar. Carlos, the Spanish speaker?
Okay. Yeah, he's right here, Your Honor.
Okay. What happened to Mr. Salazar? He got into an accident, or Mr. Salinas?
Your Honor, he's had a series of, he's got some multitude of different health issues. In talking to him, I think the person that just answered now is his son. His son is watching out for him. He, believe it or not, Judge, he's been a relatively successful businessman, but over the last year or so, there's been some cognitive decline. I've spoken to his son. I don't know of any other arrest other than the possession of a controlled substance that was also included in December. Prior to that, Judge, I don't have any reason to believe that he's got anything else other than the prior DWI, but his son has helped me in being able to discuss this with him and inform him of the seriousness of what we're about to get into. I've met with him in person. He seems to be doing a lot better. So I don't know if the court wants to give him an opportunity to try to resolve these cases and maybe put him on the right path. He's also gone through a very recent separation. So some of that may have added to all of his problems, Judge. My only real concern today was the fact that there was an active capias for his arrest.
Let me do this. Let me start off with a capias recalling it, because that's obviously first and foremost, and it's something that's very simple. He appeared here today. The court will recall it at the state's expense. There will be no expense to your client and to Mr. Salazar. And so we'll do that. That's taken care of. Now, okay. So according to my staff, we've already called NYSIs. We've recalled NYSIs in the past. I'll go out on a limb here, Mr. Salinas, and tell you that this is the one limb that I will go out on and say that I'll take this NYSI out at the state's expense yet again, even though I always say once. I will do it yet again as a courtesy, but that's about the extent of my courtesies that are going to be extended here today, because we're going to have to address the fact that he has not been placed on AIP because he doesn't respond, and we're going to have to address the fact that he's not testing with the devices that he currently has, and he hasn't put on the mobile device. I mean, those are things that we need to address, because it goes to the health and the safety of your client and to the safety of the community and the public at large. So Mr. Garcia has something he'd like to say. I'm assuming it's not good.
No, Judge, my only announcement is that so right now on that December 15th date, there is a DWI that's an intake, a resisting that's an intake, and a state jail possessing charge. And my announcement is that if Mr. Salinas is willing to work these cases out, I'm okay with a brief reset, Judge. However, previous counsel continuously made the announcement on this specific case that they wanted an ADR, Judge, there won't be any ADR on this case because there are 3 previous DWI arrests, 1 conviction from they're relatively old, from the early 2000s, Judge. And then furthermore, Judge, I think there's some allegations that this individual was purposely destroying his device so that he wouldn't have to use it. Those are allegations that came from the actual company itself. I don't know who the company is, but that's the allegation, is that he was destroying his device to purposely not be able to use it. And he wasn't reporting for AIP. So there is concern for the community, given that he's picked up an DWI charge, Judge. So I'm willing to work these cases out. And if that's the case, and Mr. Salinas wants to work it out, we can have a brief reset on it. Otherwise, we will be filing a motion to revoke bond, Judge.
Mr. Salinas, I understand that in a situation like this, based on that, information from Mr. Garcia, you can't make that decision right now. And I don't mind giving you some time to maybe February the 3rd, so that you can visit with your client. That gives you a week to visit with him, and we'll set it up. And if that's not something that you all decide to do, well, then we'll address the violations at that point. But that gives you some time.
Right. No, I think my biggest concern, Judge, is that since this is a very recent arrest, if I could just, I don't know if there's any discovery that's available yet on this arrest, because it just happened last month.
And Mr. Salinas, I can work on trying to get them expedited, given the nature of the situation. And then once they are filed, I can get you the discovery. If at minimum, at least a jail packet, I'll send it over to you as soon as possible.
And I once I look at it, I need to discuss with Mr. Salazar Morales, obviously the facts that led up to his arrest. That's number one. And number two, Judge, really the only other thing that's concerning me as well is that there's 2 devices. Will the court decide today to keep them both, or just one or the other?
I definitely don't want him to continue paying, but I wish he would just use one. That's all the court's asking him.
So, I mean, whatever you decide you think you want to do with that, Judge, I mean, but
I don't have a problem. Let's remove the Guardian interlock and leave him with the mobile.
Okay.
But the fact that he isn't using it is concerning. And we'll hold off on the scram at this point until we get to, I'm actually gonna put it on February the 8th, which is a
All right.
Tuesday, which is a little more time than a week. It's about a week and a half. All right,
Very well, Judge. I'll try to get everything in order. My biggest concern was the capias, and
that's
I'm
been
sure-
recalled, and well, let's deal with all those things on the 8th. If on the 8th he says, I'm not gonna plea, I'm not gonna do anything, well, then at that point, we have to address the violations of AIP, the violations of not putting on the scram, and then the safety of the community and everything that comes with that, okay?
Very well, Judge. I will be ready to address that on the 8th of February. That'll be via Zoom, Judge?
Via Zoom at 2:00.
And Judge, just for the record, is the AIP order still in effect?
Yes, the AIP order is still in effect. Yes. Okay. Carlos, will you let Mr. Salazar know to stay in contact with his attorney and the recall, and the date for his next case is February the 8th at 2:00.
Señor Salazar, le vamos a hacer un lado su orden de arresto, pero quédese en comunicación con su abogado. La próxima audiencia va a ser el 8 de febrero a las 9:30 de la mañana.
No, at 2:00.
I'll put it down in his
Perdón,
calendar.
a las 2 de la tarde.
Yeah,
El 8 de
2:00.
febrero, 8 de febrero, 2 de la tarde.
Yeah, perfect. I'll put it down in his calendar, sir.
All right, thank you. Stay in contact with Mr. Salinas.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have before you today, Judge. Can I be excused, please?
Your excuse, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Belinda Diaz.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have number 3 on your docket.
CR 21-099-34H, J. Anthony Aguilar.
He should be on the list, Judge. He was a little earlier when I checked.
I'm here.
Your
Okay,
Honor,
I just see him there.
good morning, Your Honor. My client was offered a PTD. He is filling out the applications. Unfortunately, he had not had the funds, which he does now. So we're asking for a little more time so that can be taken into consideration.
How much time do you need, Ms. Diaz?
Judge, I believe that I'd ask for at least 45 days, Judge. I think it's taking them at least that long to be able to respond. I know they're getting mounds of requests.
Okay. That puts us like maybe, how about March the 10th?
That'll be fine, Judge. My client will have the application submitted by this week, Judge, if no later than Monday. I'm just saying in reference to the response of if he's accepted into it.
Oh, okay, got you. Well, then let's do, you know what, let's do March 24th. That's the latest day I'm giving it. That way we can give you an extra 2 weeks. March 24th, 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor. Having nothing further, may I be excused?
Yes, Mr. Aguilar, stay in contact with your attorney. We'll see you March 24th at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
Thank you. All right, I do have Mr. Lopez here. Do you have an announcement, Ted?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and call Mr. Lopez, who's present here in the courtroom. Right here. There he is. Okay, what number?
Your Honor, starting off with number 17.
All right, number 17, CR 21-09370H, Jose Miguel Cortez. Is Mr. Cortez present? He is present? All right, and your announcement, Ted.
Your Honor, just requesting a little more time on this case, Judge. I believe to be able to work this out there at candidate.
All right, let me go ahead and give you March the 24th. That'll give you an opportunity to submit. Is he PTD eligible, Jose? Or
What was the defendant's name, Judge?
Jose Miguel Cortez, number 17.
Yes, Judge, he is.
Perfect. All right, March the 24th, Mr. Lopez, at 9:30 in the morning is the reset date, March the 24th. Yes, Mr. Cortez, stay in contact with your attorney, Mr. Lopez. We'll see you on March the 24th at 9:30.
Okay.
All right. All right, number 48. CR 21-09441H, Marlo Munoz. I do see Marlo Munoz present. Your announcement, Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Setting, Judge, we can have some more time.
How about March the 24th, 2022 at 9:30? Mr. Munoz, stay in contact with your attorney. We'll see you on March the 24th at 9:30, okay?
Judge, on this specific case, we do have a bond request that the defendant stay away from the victim.
All right.
There's already a protective order, temporary protective order in place.
There's a protective order already in place? That's Mr. Lopez's understanding?
I believe there was, last I checked, Judge, there was one that they were working on. I don't know if it's already in effect. Nonetheless, we'd still continue with our request, Judge, especially if there is a protective order
All right,
Just for the record.
bond modification. Bond modification, no harmful contact, or no contact, right? No contact at all?
No contact at all, Judge.
No contact.
Your Honor,
Victim. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would just like to state that I would like that they would have no contact with me. There's a police report stemming from this on the, in 2021 that they are harassing me. They saw me at the Dollar General store and they pulled their camera out. They pulled in with the protective order, Your Honor. They came into the Dollar General knowing I was there. They pulled their camera out. They're harassing me. This is stemming from 2019. I have multiple police reports, and I just think this is getting out of hand. And everybody's been staying away from each other, but it all stems from her new husband who's suing me since 2019. This is another form of him harassing me.
All right, Mr. Munoz. Mr. Lopez, do you represent Mr. Munoz in the 430?
I do.
All right.
We've been discussing that, Judge. Mr. Munoz is a little frustrated because it has been ongoing, Your Honor, and this few criminal charges, another thing he has to deal with, Judge, is this harassment charge, completely bogus, Your Honor. But we'll be addressing it and moving forward.
All right, Mr. Munoz, I don't know if you were able to hear Mr. Lopez. I know his microphone is off, so there's no interference here in the courtroom, but he's advising me several things. First and foremost, that you are representing him, or he's representing you in the 430th, that he's aware of your frustration, and is, as you know, I can understand. One of the things I can tell you is that in this criminal case, the only thing I can handle is what the state is requesting from you. I'm sure Mr. Lopez is going to do what he needs to do in the 430th if there's any modifications of the protective order to make it a mutual injunction. And I'm sure that can be taken care of if it hasn't already. He's going to work hard to try to take care of this for you. We'll see you on March the 24th at 9:30.
Yes, sir. But I also would like to get on court record, because that's the only way I can protect myself is this. I have here in 2019, 3 different police reports, 2020, another police report, and in 2021, all coming from her address from Julio Cesar Wilson. And that's her fiance who's been messing with me because I put in record a thumb drive to his sexual assault case. And this is him still trying to get at me. It's very frightening. He's suing me. And in our last court, sir, I submitted a picture to my my lawyer that she was so blatant to wear his company shirt and saying she doesn't know me or anything with me. But in 2019, this guy's been suing me, sir. And she's in that court document last time we had court. She's wearing his company shirt. I'm sorry. It's
Stay in contact.
I'm just trying to go about my life, sir.
I understand. I understand this. I understand the process can sometimes get frustrating.
I think the frustration comes because in the 430, like they're doing the same thing as far as so.
Not only that, I have to go a different route, sir. I'm a firefighter, a volunteer. I do a lot of stuff in the community. I also have Miss Jackie Bazan, who's the old city manager in La Jolla, willing to testify that this man her fiance called the city the day after I was arrested.
Okay. Again, stay in contact with Mr. Lopez. I mean, he's the best avenue and conduit to help you in this case.
Yes, sir. I'll keep continuing with the judge's orders and my lawyer's advice.
Absolutely. That'll never lead you astray.
I know, sir. It's hard. It's hard. I
understand. Stay in contact with Mr. Lopez. Thank you. You're excused, Mr. Munoz.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Ms. Cedillo.
Judge, good morning. I have number 50 on the court's docket, State of Texas versus Jose Reina. He should be on, Judge.
All right, Mr. Jose Reina the fourth, CR 21-089-26H. Is Mr. Reina present? Jose Reina the fourth. If you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Jose Reina. Looks like it's a first status, Ms. Cedillo. There's no motion for continuance that's been urged. Are you requesting that at this time?
I am, Judge. My client has a pending felony out of the 430th. I'm surprised he's not on. I know he was contacted again this morning, Judge. Nonetheless, he does have a pending felony out of the 430th, so I'm going to be requesting some additional time so that we can resolve that matter.
All right, reset date for March the 24th at 9:30. Motion for continuance is granted. He will need to be present on the 24th, or a warrant will be issued at that time.
Understood, Your Honor. Having nothing further before the court, may I be excused?
You're excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Martinez, Veronica Martinez.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have number 46 on the court's docket, Jose Martinez.
All right, number 46 is CR 21-10-901H, Jose Rosbel Martinez Jr. I have a note here that he obtained a new drug patch on January the 20th, so only a week ago. Your announcement, Ms. Martinez.
Your Honor, this was a status just to make sure that my client obtained that drug patch. Just asking for some more time.
Perfect. Let me go ahead and give you a March the 10th date. That should hopefully give us, do you think that's enough time, Victoria, or should we give him a little bit more time? March the 10th. I can go till the 24th.
I think that's enough time, Judge.
March the 10th. Okay, March 10th, 2022, 9:30, Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have. Maybe be excused.
You're excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Dietz, you have your camera on.
Good morning, Judge. I have number 40 on the court's docket.
Number 40, CR 21-06-917H, Liliana Herrera.
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Herrera.
I do see her present.
She is present, Judge.
Yes.
Yes, Judge. In this case, we have come to an agreement with the state, Judge. I did speak to Mr. Garcia, and he should be sending me the paperwork today. So we just need a couple of weeks, Judge.
All right, couple weeks for a plea. Let's do it on, how about February the 10th? Does that work for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
February 10th, 2022 at 2:00.
Thank you, Your Honor. It will be ready. And that's all I have, Judge. May we be excused?
Ms. Herrera, stay in contact with Ms. Dietz. We'll see you in 2 weeks on February the 10th at 2:00.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Shigani.
Good morning, Judge. I have number 44 on the court's docket. It's stated sex versus Marlene Maldonado, CR 21-09-655H. We're here on a status, Your Honor, from last week. I believe last week we had requested a bond modification regarding the device. And I think the court was going to speak to probation about more details about my client's performance since the request from the court to have the device. And I think you were going to entertain modifying bond insofar as removing the device for the time being, Your Honor.
Yeah.
She has applied to PTD, Judge. We're still pending approval.
All right, Mr. Garcia.
Judge, I did look over my notes on this case. I do have notes from probation that in October, there were several violations, including a violation of a BAC level 0.102. There were also several late and missed tests. And furthermore, Judge, we do have blood results on this case. There's a 0.169 BAC level. And lastly, Judge, if she's going to be on PTD, she's going to need that mobile device. So at this time, we would object to any mobile device removal, Judge.
Your Honor, she's not on PTD right now. So, I mean, obviously, if she is on PTD, then we would approach that at that time. It still charges a Class B, Your Honor, regardless of the blood tests. So it's not mandatory per statute. And regarding the violations, I was not aware of the 0.10. I was aware of some missed tests where she was late a few minutes, I think 10 minutes, waking up in the morning. I would ask her, again, Judge, I'm not aware of the 0.10. I thought it was 0.01, but I would ask my client, maybe the court can address that with Ms. Maldonado.
I think, did I hear 0.16?
No, Judge, on my notes, it's 0.102. I don't know if probation can verify that, Judge. And Judge, if it being a Class B is an issue, then I can take it down to intake and refile.
That sounds such a Hitesh Shigani kind of move when he was a prosecutor here.
I don't think I would have refiled it, Judge, but I mean, he can say what he wants. I have no issues with it.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, Judge, I'm pulling up the October report. But since our last hearing, she did not have any violations. I just wanted to point that out.
All right.
Pull up October and I can let you know. There was a 0.04 on October 29th at 11:01 p.m.
0.04, you said?
0.04,
0.04 on what day?
October 29th.
Okay.
And so it looks like that same day, she's got 3 positives. So she was retesting and it went from a 0.10 all the way to a 0.04 from 10:01 p.m. until 11:01 p.m.
Okay, 0.10 at what time?
At 10:01 p.m.
And then the 0.04?
At 11:01 p.m.
So 1 hour.
An hour later. Mhm.
Okay. And the reason for the request, Mr. Shigani, is it financial or?
I mean, we initially requested that this just be turned into a mobile, not a mobile, I'm sorry, a vehicle device. We're not necessarily asking for outright removal, but it's just, she's been on it for some time. It was just a request to the court, given her, I know she has that one issue in October, but I think her overall performance, given the fact that she's been waiting for PTD, we submitted this application 2.5 months ago. I'm not sure what the DA's office is doing. So it's a little bit restrictive, Judge, to have the mobile device. So we're just asking for something a little bit less restrictive on our client. So that was the purpose of the request, Your Honor.
When did she get the device put on?
I
I have the
October 1st,
application.
Judge.
On October 1st?
October 5th, actually.
Yeah, October 1st was when she was.
So October 5th. So she's had it on for, so 4 months? Not even 4 months? We're coming up on 4 months?
About 3 months.
3 months. Well, on February, it'll be 4 months. Okay. No, only DWI. Okay, Ms. Maldonado, I'd like to, can I have you raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the last name Maldonado. We are not related, correct?
Correct.
All right. And I say that only because I don't want anybody to get the impression that I'm doing this because we're related, right? That I'm
We're not related,
considering
Your Honor.
removing a device because we're related. That's what I'm trying to establish. We are not related.
Correct, we're not.
And I say that because, you know, quite honestly, the Garcia name is a very common Hispanic name. Maldonado, not so much. I mean, we're there, but not so much. Okay. Ms. Maldonado, you are aware that if you apply for pretrial diversion and if you're granted pretrial diversion next week, for example, or the week after, that you will have to pay to have your device put back on. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So there would be a fee for putting it back on.
Yes, Your Honor. It's just that right now, I am employed, but I'm getting very little hours. I work sometimes 10 hours a week, others 15, 20 at $11 an hour. It's not, I mean, I have other bills to pay and it's really becoming a burden
All right.
For me at this point.
Do you have minor children?
I have an 18-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter living here with me.
All right. So you care for those, at least the 9-year-old. You care for the 9-year-old.
Yes, I do.
Okay. The court will go ahead and grant your request, understanding that you may have to, you're most likely going to have to put this device back on as a condition of your pretrial diversion, and understanding and making you aware that you're going to have to pay for the fees. That way that there's no issues later with saying, well, you know, you're having to pay for the reinstatement or reinstalling of that device. And it could be as early as next month. So you're going to pay to get it taken off, and you gotta get paid to put it back on, you know?
I understand, Your Honor, and it's the mobile device. that
The
I
mobile
have.
device, correct. You're gonna have to have the mobile device as part of pretrial diversion. All right, I'll work on an order removing it, Mr. Shigani.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Maybe the
All right.
state can hurry up and get my client on PTD. That would probably solve the issue as well.
that is true too.
They can do that, Judge, so
All right, let me give you a reset date for March the 8th.
thank you, Your Honor.
All right, March 8th, 2022 at 9:30.
Thank you, Judge. I do have one more matter, Your Honor. Actually, I don't know if the court can take it up. It's off your PM docket. I'm just gonna ask for a reset. I don't know if the court would entertain that.
All right, go ahead.
It's number 16 and 17, Your Honor, I believe. Juan Ignacio Martinez. Yeah, number 16 and 17, Judge. CR 21-04806H, CR 21-04805H. I've already worked this case out, Judge. I have a deal ready. I have the paperwork, just need my client to sign. I haven't had an issue getting him into my office. The court has given me several resets administratively. We were set for this afternoon, so I figured I'd ask you on the record, Judge. Maybe you can give me one more reset. I think my client's out working in the oil fields. I'm trying to communicate with him through his mother. He just got to sign the documents, Judge. It's a PTD POM agreement. So I'm just asking for a little bit more time. I get him into my office, Judge.
How about, February 15th? Does that work?
That's fine, Your Honor.
February 15th, 2022 at 2.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, what was the reset date on Marlene? I apologize. It was March
the 8th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you and Ms. Maldonado are excused.
Thank you, Judge. Have a great day.
Thanks. Ms. Vasquez.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
I'm here on number 10 on your docket for Ofelia Bautista.
All right, that's CR 21-06-049H, Ofelia Bautista. Bond modification, I'm showing no violations, which is great news.
Yes, Your Honor, and she's present, identified as the Galaxy 832 5G for the record.
Yes, ma'am. Your announcement?
Your Honor, on Ms. Bautista's case, the PTD application is ready, except we missed a signature on one of the waivers. We are asking for a final reset in order to get that filed with the DA's office.
All right, how much time do you think you need?
Your Honor, I can get that turned in probably by the end of the week, but if the court will give us 30 days to see, maybe we can get a response from the DA's office as to approval.
All right, this is for a PTD?
Yes, Judge.
All right, let me give you March the 24th.
And what time on the 24th, Your Honor?
9:30.
9:30.
All right, Ms. Bautista, stay in contact with Ms. Vasquez. We'll see you on March the 24th at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business before this court. May I and Ms. Bautista be excused?
Both of you are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I do see Mr. Alvarez with his phone on. So
No lo agarró.
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. What do you have, Mr. Alvarez?
52 and 53, Ashley Robles, Your Honor.
52, 53, and 54. CR 20-05-846H, CR 20-05-845H, CR 21-13-325H. State of Texas versus Ashley Robles.
Yes, sir. We're just asking. You should
Go
be
ahead.
on the.
Yes.
Good morning, Judge.
All we're asking for is a trial date, Judge, at the court's convenience.
Judge, can we just have the further status date? There's 3 pending felonies, Judge.
3 pending felonies, and she hasn't even been arraigned on the criminal mischief. So submit a waiver on that one, Mr. Alvarez. Were you retained on these cases?
I was, Your Honor.
Okay, yes. Go ahead and submit she has a criminal mischief. There's an arraignment. I'm going to go ahead and give you a March 24th date for status.
Yes,
and March 24th. You're going to be in trial with me quite often, so we're going to see a lot of each other, Mr. Alvarez. So get ready for me, because you've been making announcements for trial, and I think that you're like #1 for at least the next month and a half. Get ready.
We're ready, Judge. We're ready.
I think you're up next week, right, guys? On the 7th of February. So we'll see you on Thursday for a docket call next Thursday.
Very good, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, on this same case, I apologize for interrupting, Your Honor. I'm
court appointed on Ms. Robles for number 54. It's my understanding that Mr. Alvarez is going to take over?
Yes, he's been
Okay.
retained.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
then
Mr. Gonzaga.
I'll notate that.
Submit a motion or submit a voucher for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Maybe
You're
excused.
welcome. You're excused. Ms. Robles, stay in contact with your attorney. All right, we'll see you on the 24th at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Palacios.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. What do you have?
Judge, I have number 49 on your docket, and her name is Cecilia Ramirez, Judge. And that's CR 21-00981H. Judge,
Yes. Yes, sir.
She missed her last Zoom hearing, and I believe she was issued a nice side, Judge. And
Yes,
right now, we're trying to remove that nice side.
Mr. Arredondo made an announcement for you earlier this morning, and the court gave a reset date for March the 24th. I believe we took care of that matter for you. He was here present he was here. I think he had to be next door, and he walked in and made that announcement for you.
Okay, Judge, thank you. And that's all I had.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Judge.
You too. Alex, what do you have?
Good morning, Judge. Judge, I have number 19 and 20, Michael Flores. We're just asking for some,
20 CR 21085128H and CR 20-02-483H, State of Texas versus Michael Anthony Flores.
yes, Judge, he's present.
Is Michael Flores present?
Here.
I do see him there. All right, Alex, your announcement.
We're just asking for some time, Judge. We should be able to work this case out with the state.
Is this something maybe I can set it up for an afternoon down the road, maybe 30 days?
Yeah, Judge, that'll work.
Okay, how about I give you February the 24th? February 24th at 2 o'clock?
Yes, Judge.
All right, February 24th, Mr. Flores, stay in contact with Mr. Munoz. We'll see you February 24th at 2 o'clock.
Judge, I also have number 26, Juan Garcia. I believe he's also present, Judge.
CR 21-02-358, Juan Pablo Garcia. All right, I got December report, 20 missed tests, 17 late tests, and 1 verbal was already given back on August the 24th. Munoz, I don't know if you were aware of those.
Judge, I wasn't. This is the first I hear of these missed tests, Judge.
Okay. Would you like, I mean, I could extend you a courtesy, give you some time to visit with him. I know we're going to probably be talking, I mean, we already gave him a verbal warning, but you know, maybe this is like earlier today with Mr. Salinas, we can give you a date till you can, is this a case that might be able to get resolved?
Judge, I'm sure we are. I'm not sure if he's PTD eligible or not, Judge.
He is PTD eligible, Judge, except that there's an accident. So those any pending restitution issues would have to get resolved before getting approved for PTD.
Okay.
Judge, so I believe that's a route we're trying to go, Judge. I just need to speak to him about these missed tests that he's having.
Yeah, missed and late. I'm not so, again, I'm not that I'm not concerned about the late. I am, but the missed test is just, I view those as being positive, Alex, and we've already given a verbal warning. We've already talked about it. We've already had a conversation about it. And so here we are again with more missed tests. And, you know, it's kind of like, what do I do? How do I protect the roads? How do I protect the community? How do I protect your family and my family and our families from getting involved in an accident with a drunk driver? Not necessarily maybe your client, but people in general. I mean, you gotta...
I understand, Judge. I need to speak to him. Hopefully we can get him in the program. If not, I'm sure we'll be able to work it out with the state, Judge, and that way he'll be able to be supervised by the probation department, Judge.
Mr. Garcia?
Judge, our next request was going to be a Mothers Against Drunk Driving impact panel. That's generally my request on second violations. Ultimately, I would defer to the court as to whether we can reset him. I wouldn't be opposed to a quick reset to give Mr. Munoz some time to talk to his client. But I would suspect that my request is going to be the same at the next hearing, Judge.
Let's do that, Alex. Let me go ahead and reset this for February the 8th at 2 o'clock. Okay?
Yes, Judge.
And that way I'm going to send you the reports, and that way you can visit with your client. We're going to have to take action somehow, some way. I'm going to treat him the same way I treated the previous case with Mr. Salinas where, you know, if it's something that can get worked out, great. If it's not, then, you know, I think MAD impact panels is something that he should be able to do, and probably I would encourage him to do anyway. So, and I mean, unless you want to be, I can put you in a breakout room and you all can discuss that now. And if he's amenable to that, I can modify it and then give you more time, and you don't have to come back on the 8th.
No, Judge, the 8th is fine, Judge. I'll go ahead and give him a call. That way I can talk to him.
Perfect. All right. Mr. Garcia, stay in contact with Mr. Munoz. We'll see you on February the 8th at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have today. May I be excused?
I just want to make sure your client hears me. Mr. Garcia, can you hear me? You're on mute.
Is he a Spanish speaker, Alex?
I believe he might be.
¿Me escucha, señor Garcia?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Garcia, stay in contact with Mr. Munoz. The court's going to reset your case for February the 8th at 2 o'clock.
Señor García, quédese en comunicación con su abogado Muñoz. Le voy a poner una fecha para el 8 de febrero a las 2 de la tarde.
Okay, gracias.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Munoz. Ms. Flores.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. What do you have?
I have State of Texas versus Andres Alberto Vargas, CR 21-10477H. You should be present on the screen, Your Honor.
All right. Is Andres Vargas present?
Yes, my honor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Your Honor, in this case, I just received a recommendation from Mr. Heller via email. I did relay that recommendation to my client. He will be accepting it. It's for an alternative disposition. So we just need some additional time, Your Honor, for him to be able to comply with the requirements, and then it should be set for dismissal.
All right. How much time do you think you need?
Your Honor, I would say about 30 days. My client does need to pay off a couple of tickets to be able to reinstate his license.
All right. Let me go ahead and give him March. No, hold on. February 24th at 9:30, if that's okay.
Yes, Your Honor, that should be fine.
February 24th, 2022 at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. May we be excused?
You're excused.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Ms. Richardson and Mr. Bustos, but both of them have their cameras off. I assume that they're in another court. They're not. Okay, let's start with Mr. Bustos.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
You raised his hand, Reggie. You didn't raise your hand.
Judge, I tried. I'm on 3 devices. I apologize, and I thought I had my hand up on the phone, but that's okay. Let
Judge, but
Judge
no
Bustos.
fairness, Judge. I'll let Ms. Richardson go first, Judge.
Oh, look at that. Chivalry still exists, Ms. Richardson. Chivalry still exists.
That's
You know
right,
what?
Judge.
That makes my day.
All right, Ms. Richardson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bustos. I have number 37, Judge.
CR 21-06-301H, Margaret Gutierrez.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Gutierrez has 2 unindicted felony possessions pending.
All right, is Margaret Gutierrez present?
Present, Your Honor.
All right, good morning. Ms. Richardson, can I give you March the 24th to see where we're at?
Certainly. Certainly,
March
Judge.
24th, 2022 at 9:30.
Very well, Judge. May we both be excused?
Both of y'all are excused. Thank you.
Have a good day, Judge Bustos.
You too.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bustos, what do you got?
Judge, I got number 60 on your criminal docket, Judge.
60?
Yes, sir.
CR 21-09-645H, Christian Emmanuel Sanchez.
Your Honor, Mr. Sanchez is present via, I think, a Galaxy phone. Saw me earlier. I know last time we were here, Judge, he still has, I believe, a felony pending. We were waiting for that to be indicted, Judge. And it's my understanding, Judge, after speaking with him, that being on the scram device, that there hasn't been any violations, Judge, but.
Yes, I'm looking at, he's got actually 3 cases before the court. No scram violations. There was one AIP violation, but it looks like he was at work. So there was just some mix up on terms of the times, but we'll consider the fact that he was at work and we'll move on. Mr. Bustos, your announcement.
Judge, I asked for a little more time, Judge. We're still waiting for those. I believe the DWI is a felony, Judge, so that should be able to dispose of all these other issues that we have here in this court, Judge.
March 24th at 9:30. That way the felony can have some time to come in.
Thank you, Judge. My big excuse.
Your excuse, thank you. March 24th, 9:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Morales Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize. I don't know what number I am on the docket, but my cause number or my client's cause number is CR 21-06800H. Her name is Laura Leticia Calderon. And I saw her. There she is, Judge.
All right. I do see her there, and she's number 12 on the docket.
Oh, thank you, Judge. Judge, on this case, we did file a waiver of arraignment. But I've not had contact with the with ADA Garcia or Heller to see if we can work this out. I respectfully ask for some additional time.
All right. I can give you as much time as you need. I'm the latest day I'm giving is March the 24th, but I can give you any Tuesday or Thursday between now and then, Ms. Martinez.
Okay. Judge, I would appreciate something in March, but respectfully, before the 14th, I'm set for a capital murder trial.
How about the 8th of March?
That sounds good, Judge.
All right, March 8th, 2022 at 9:30.
March 8th.
All right, Ms. Calderon, stay in contact with Ms. Martinez. We'll see you on March the 8th at 9:30.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Judge, we have nothing further before this court. May we both be excused.
You're both excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, I see Mr. Ortegon. Mr. Ortegon, are you ready to make an announcement on your case?
Yes, Judge. I have a note here in my file that I think the state still, they need to reach out to the alleged victim.
Who's your client?
We have no. What's that, Judge?
Your client's name?
Oscar Reyes Lucio, number 43 on your docket, Judge.
All right, number 43. CR 2110-485H, Oscar Reyes Lucio. I see Mr. Lucio present. Okay, so state was going to reach out to the victim?
Is that correct?
Yes, Judge. I have been in contact with Mr. Ortegon. We have been trying to, we're running a background check on the victim to get a good contact number and good mailing address. We mailed out a letter to the location or to the address that we have on file. However, we've received no response, but we just sent that 2 weeks ago, Judge. So we'd be asking for at least 30 days to try to get in contact with that victim and see how to proceed on these cases.
So is there going any objection for a 45-day reset?
Not at all, Judge.
All right. Let me go ahead and give you a reset date for March the 10th, if that's okay.
March 10th, Judge, at 9:30?
Yes, sir.
10:30 or 9:30, Judge?
9:30.
Okay, that's all I have, Judge. May I be excused?
You and Mr. Lucio are excused. Mr. Lucio, stay in contact with your attorney, okay?
Good. Judge, personal note, when is your restaurant going to open?
We're looking for mid-March.
Okay, well, good to see it.
Thank you.
Okay, Judge, thank you.
Bye-bye. Mr. Canche, what do you got?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it's number 39. It's a plea, Your Honor.
Okay, a plea for Mr. 39, Juan Manuel Hernandez. Where's Mr.? Take care of it right now. Mr. Hernandez, can I have you unmute yourself? All right, are we ready to go, Mr. Garcia, on this one?
Yes, Judge, the paperwork is e-filed.
PTD placement?
Yes, Judge.
Perfect. All right. Mr. Hernandez, can I have you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Is your true and correct name Juan Manuel Hernandez?
Juan Manuel Hernandez.
All right, you may lower your hand. Mr. Hernandez, you're here before the court charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. I need to advise you that a Class B misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 6 months in the Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand the range of punishment you could receive for a Class B misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
You have a right to an attorney and the right to a trial by jury, but you can waive one or both of those rights by signing a document. Did you have an opportunity to review a document with your attorney before signing it?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that when you were signing that document, you were waiving your right to a trial by jury? Did you understand you were waiving that right?
Yes.
Has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane?
No.
Counsel, speaking with your client, do you find him to be mentally competent, able to assist?
Mr. Hernandez is competent, Your Honor.
Court's going to go ahead and make a finding that Mr. Juan Manuel Hernandez is mentally competent. Mr. Hernandez, do you understand that if the punishment that I assess, if that punishment does not exceed what is recommended by the state, you will need this court's permission if you decide to file an appeal? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you further understand that the court does not have to accept the recommendation of the state?
Sorry?
Do you understand that the court does not have to accept the recommendation of the state? Meaning you all may have reached an agreement, but the court doesn't have to approve it. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Okay. So you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, I must ask you, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
All right. To the offense of driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor, sir. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily, Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Court's going to go ahead and accept your plea as being freely and voluntarily given. I'll call for state's evidence at this time.
Your Honor, state offers plea documents and office reports as State's Exhibit 1, notification and certification of defendant's right of appeal as State's Exhibit 2, waiver of Article 39.14 disclosures as State's Exhibit 3, waiver of risk and needs assessment as State's Exhibit 4, PTD POM packet as State's Exhibit 5. We'd also request that the defense counsel stipulate to venue and jurisdiction of this honorable court, and they further stipulate that all evidence which is being filed is sufficient to corroborate the plea of guilty.
No objections, Your Honor, so agreed and stipulated.
There be no objections. State's exhibits are hereby admitted in CR 21-04-817H. State of Texas versus Juan Manuel Hernandez. It is a judgment of the court that Mr. Hernandez is guilty as charged. This is a pretrial diversion placement, Mr. Hernandez. Was the pretrial diversion paperwork explained to you by Mr. Canche?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This is a contract that what he explained to you is in essence a contract between you and the state, whereby you are agreeing to comply with certain conditions of the pretrial diversion program, and in exchange, the state is agreeing to dismiss the charges against you. Do you understand the nature of that agreement and contract?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Canche, is there any reason or anything that we need to discuss before placing Mr. Hernandez on the pretrial diversion program?
No, Your Honor, he's perfectly capable of complying with the pretrial diversion program.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and give it a status, a 1-year PTD status for January 24th, 2022. I'm sorry, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. January 24th, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. And that is a status on the pretrial diversion program, Mr. Hernandez. We do need a phone number from you. We can get that number from you.
Okay. Do you need it like right now?
Yes, sir.
956-685-7628.
That was 1708. The last 4.
7628.
Can you repeat it one more time?
956-685-7628. 28.
628. Okay, thank you. Our intake department will be calling you in about 5 business days.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Canche, anything else?
That's all I have, Your Honor. May be excused.
You and your client are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have George Munoz, who's in court. Silguero. All right, Silvia Silguero, who is president of the court. Ms. Silguero, your attorney is asking for some additional time. How much time, George? 30 days. All right, he's asking for 30 days. I'm going to go ahead and give him March the 8th, March 8th, 2022 at 9:30. All right, Ms. Silguero, you're excused. Do you have any questions? All right, we'll see you on March the 8th. You can stay in contact with your attorney, okay? You can log off now. All right, Ms. Connie, Mr. Puente. Mr. Puente has your camera on. Okay, I'll go with Mr. Puente.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what number do you have?
I was told the next case, Your Honor. It's State versus Jose Muniz.
Jose Muniz. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look for it.
intoxicated. That'll also be April 7th, 2022. That's defendant's other case. That's probation.
That's CR 1904-600H, Jose Dolores Muniz. I do think I see Miss Jose Muniz did log on. There he is. Okay, Mr. Puente, your announcement.
Yes, Your Honor, I believe there was an issue about the bond and because of the capias, and I wanted to formally just ask that the capias be recalled if it hasn't already. And also, I guess from the state for a plea recommendation, so I could discuss it with the client about whether he wants to pursue a trial or take the plea.
Judge, our recommendation on this one is we just need an anger management certificate, and we need to work on getting the victim on for victim testimony.
Okay, let me go ahead and give you a reset date. There doesn't look to be a warrant out for him or any capias, Mr. Puente.
Okay, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a reset date for 30 days down the road. I'm going to give you March the 8th. If you need something sooner, Mr. Puente, we're always here on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30, so you can always bring them in and we'll take care of it. But for now, I'm going to give you March the 8th, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. That makes
Will you stay in contact with Mr. Puente? We'll see you on March the 8th at 9:30, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Ms. Conant, what do you have?
Morning, Your Honor. I have a lot of electronic issues. Is the problem?
Okay.
I have number 2 on the court's criminal docket.
All right, that's CR 2106-909H, Oliver Aguilar.
Yes, Your Honor, and he's online.
I do see him. Aguilera. Is it?
Your Honor, this is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Conant.
Yes, sir. This is the first setting for a status, and we were going to ask for at least another month. I haven't reviewed the discovery yet, nor the videos.
March the 8th, 2022 at 9:30.
Perfect.
Mr. Aguilera, you're listed as Aguilera, but on the docket it's Aguilar.
No, it's Aguilar.
Aguilar, okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you on the 8th of March at 9:30, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have excused?
Is that all you have?
It is.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
I'll fix my accounts. Thank you.
No problem.
Have a good day.
You too. Mr. John Rodriguez, can you hear me?
Yes, Judge.
John, what do you have?
Judge, I have number 32 on your docket, State of Texas versus Melissa Marie Garza.
That's CR 2100-196H.
That is correct, Your Honor. I'm going to be asking for a bit more time on this one. I'm still working on it. My communication with my client has been a little bit spotty, but I need to get convey a rec, and just get her to give me an answer on it.
All right, I'm going to grant you a motion for continuance. That way we jotted down that she must be present at the next hearing. I'm going to go ahead and give you March the 10th.
Okay.
2022 at 9:30, and she must be present at that time or a warrant will be issued, okay?
Judge, present in court or Zoom presence?
Zoom is fine.
Okay. Yeah. Not a problem, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
That's all I have before this court. May I be excused, Judge?
Yes, you may. Thank you. Okay, I know I have Mr. Lucio still present, but I know that we took care of his case.
Number 43.
43?
Carlos Ortegon.
Yes. Mr. Oscar Lucio, can you hear me? You're on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
¿Puede encender su micrófono?
Ahí está. All right, Mr. Lucio, your case was called with Mr. Ortegon earlier. The court gave a reset date for March the 10th at 9:30.
Su abogado hizo un anuncio en su caso temprano. Le pusieron fecha para el 10 de marzo, 9:30 de la mañana.
10 de marzo.
March 10th?
Yes.
Sí.
Okay.
Stay in contact with Mr. Ortegon, okay?
Quédese en comunicación con el señor Ortegón.
Gracias.
All right, but you can log off now.
Eso para retirar.
Thank you.
21, 22. Okay, what about Mr. Rubio? Oh, Dad, Mr. Longoria. Okay, hang tight, Mr. Rubio. We'll be right with you. And then the iPhone. Then the iPhone. Okay, I have a trooper here. I know I have a trooper, Mr. Online, but then I have a trooper here in the courtroom. Do you guys need his information?
No, Judge, ADA Heller will be handling the Zoom suppression or the Zoom suppression. I'm going to head to the courtroom because we have an in-person suppression.
With George?
No, with Dennis.
Dennis. Oh, that's right. Dennis was here. Okay. All right. So the online suppression, who is the officer? The one present in the court? Not this.
Trooper Rocco Rowan. I believe I pronounced that correctly, Judge.
Okay, perfect. And are we ready to proceed on that? Well, we need.
We are, Judge. I was just gonna ask for a short bathroom recess.
That's perfect. I need one too.
Be back.
Okay, we're gonna get in contact with Mr. Longoria so that we can get started on that one, okay? Oh, he's logging on. Oscar, we're about to get started with you, okay? Yes. It's okay. I know Mr. Heller is going to handle it. He asked for a restroom break. I need a restroom break. So if you can just give me maybe 5 minutes and I'll be right back, okay?
That's fine, Your Honor.
But you're up, and we're going to take care of the Zoom motion to suppress first.
I thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Okay, ma'am with the iPhone, can you identify yourself, please? And you're on mute, please. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, it's Melissa Garza. My phone died.
Okay, Melissa Garza. Give me 1 second. Let me just identify you real quick.
Yes.
Is it Melissa Marie Garza?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay, I gave a reset date for March the 10th at 9:30, okay? Your attorney asked for a reset. I gave it to you, or I gave it to him. I'm gonna recall not the warrant, the motion for continuance since you are present. So on number 32, Jackie, let's go ahead and just remove the motion for continuance. March 10th, 9:30, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're excused.
Bye-bye.
All right, Leticia Marie Vasquez, if you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me see real quick. Is that number? Leticia, is it Vasquez?
That was the one that had the name issue, Judge.
Oh, Miss Garza. Yeah, she has two. Okay. The public defender is gone. Let me recall. What number? 60 and 16? Ms. Vasquez, can you log on this afternoon at 2:30? Oh, no, sorry, at 2 o'clock?
Yes.
Yes, because your attorney is not present, and I do need your attorney to be present so we can take up some issues with respect to your different, you're listed under different names.
Yes, sir.
Can you call my office so that we can give you the Zoom link for this afternoon?
Yes.
Do you know the number?
No.
It's they just put it on the chat. It's 292-7740.
Okay, I got it.
And we'll give you the Zoom link for this afternoon at 2 o'clock, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, Mr. Longoria, one more time. This is Christian Rubio, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. Number 56 and 57 on your criminal docket, State of Texas versus Christian Rubio.
56 and 57. Are we, we're just proceeding on the, are we proceeding on both or just on the DWI?
On both, Your Honor. I believe I filed a motion, made reference to both, and I have 2 orders pending, one in the queue. So,
Judge, I don't mean to be disrespectful or interject, Mr. Longoria, but per case law, Judge, resistings are not suppressible cases, Judge. That's basically a bench trial.
Oh, so yeah, only 57 is currently set for a motion to suppress, Mr. Longoria.
Right. That is fine, Your Honor.
All right, so. Okay, Mr. Garcia, were you going to make your way over here for the other trooper?
I will be shortly, Judge. I will be logged on for the beginning of this suppression, then I'm going to head that way.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Mr. Longoria, you're present, you're ready. Mr. Heller, you're present, you're ready. Mr. Heller, I'll let you call your first witness.
Yes, Judge, preliminarily, we'd like defense to waive in-person hearing and waiving the confrontation clause as pertains to the suppression.
We're unopposed, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be waived.
Thank you. Judge, State calls Trooper Rocco Rohan.
All right, is it, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Rohan? And you're on mute, Trooper. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Do you pronounce your last name Rohan?
Rohan.
Rohan, okay.
Yes,
Trooper Rohan, can I have you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. Heller, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Trooper, and thank you for being here today. Can you please state your full name for the record?
Rocco Rohan.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, sir.
Where are you currently employed?
Texas Department of Public Safety,
And which office are you out of?
Westlaco.
How long have you been a peace officer with the DPS?
Going on 4 years.
Can you please describe your educational background?
I have an associate's degree out of Amarillo College, my hometown. From there, I got accepted into the DPS Academy, where we went through various trainings, including DWI detection and enforcement.
What special training do you have pertaining to your duties as a state trooper?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What special training do you have as a state trooper?
Well, we have various types of training. There's crash investigation, like I said, DWI detection, all kinds of penal code violations. I can be more specific.
So you're trained in DWI detection?
Yes, sir.
And what are your general duties as a peace officer?
From working crashes all the way to handing out, making traffic stops for various traffic violations, or penal code violations come out of some traffic stops.
Were you employed on December 12th, 2020?
Yes, sir, I was.
As a trooper?
Yes, sir.
What hours were you working on that date?
I believe I was working from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. on that day.
Where exactly were you patrolling on that date?
I was working Expressway 83, also known as Interstate Highway 2 in Hidalgo County.
What city was that in?
From Westlaco to Donna to Alamo, all of those are my primary area.
What county? And you said that's in Hidalgo County?
Yes, sir.
And that's in Texas?
Yes, sir.
What were you wearing?
I was wearing my official DPS issued uniform.
What were you driving?
I was driving the fully marked highway patrol vehicle.
Were you working alone or did you have a partner on that date?
I was working alone.
While in patrol, what happened on that date in question?
I was traveling westbound on the frontage road when I observed a white passenger car that was traveling on the expressway at a very high rate of speed.
What was the speed limit on that roadway?
It is 70 miles per hour and it's posted.
What speed was the defendant traveling at?
At 109 miles an hour.
Was that speed constant?
Yes, sir, for the majority.
What was traffic like at that time?
It was light.
How long did you follow the defendant for?
A few seconds to confirm the speed.
And how did you determine that speed?
I visually observed it, and then I confirmed it with the calibrated radar.
And so your training includes instruction on operation of that radar?
Yes, sir, calibration and operation.
What training did you receive in order to learn how to use it?
In the academy, they trained us on how to calibrate it, how to operate it, and then we do yearly refreshers to DPS.
And you've operated that radar before?
Yes, I have. I apologize.
And how often do you use that radar?
Mostly every day when I'm on patrol. It's a big part of our, yes, sir.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
No, it's a big part of our enforcement.
Okay.
Traffic enforcement.
How does that radar work?
It has an antenna that produces a Doppler frequency beam. Then the radar has a counting unit and its own internal circuitry that calculates the speed of the vehicle.
What tests do you conduct to ensure that it's working properly?
I'm sorry?
What do you do to make sure that it's working properly?
I calibrate at the beginning and end of every shift.
And that's every day?
Yes, sir.
And did you calibrate it on the day in question?
Yes, sir.
And it was working properly?
It was.
And what was the defendant's speed according to the radar?
109 miles an hour.
And you said the defendant was driving what kind of car?
It was a small white. May I refer to my case report?
You may.
It was a white Chevrolet Spark.
And that's a motor vehicle, correct?
Yes, it is.
And what did you do next?
I initiated my emergency light to conduct a traffic stop.
And the reason you conducted the traffic stop was the speeding?
Yes, sir.
And how fast did he pull over?
I'm sorry?
How fast did he pull over?
He pulled over into the inside improved shoulder.
And was it a safe pullover?
No, it was not. It was a dangerous area to stop. So I exited my patrol vehicle and went and told him, the defendant, to pull over off of the expressway in a safer area, and he did so.
And so once he did that, how did you approach the vehicle?
I approached the vehicle on the driver's side.
And do you see the driver on the screen at this time?
I do not. Do I have to scroll? I'm not very familiar with
Can you
the
switch
Zoom.
the view? Can you switch your view to gallery mode? Or go to scroll?
Where would that be at, sir?
You're on a phone Zoom, correct?
Yes, sir.
I would try scrolling to the left or the right.
Okay, I see the defendant.
And can you identify what he's wearing?
He's wearing looks like a red and black plaid shirt.
Your Honor, let the record reflect he's identified the defendant.
The record will identify that the defendant has been identified.
And was anybody else in the vehicle, Trooper?
No one else was in the vehicle.
Did you notify the driver why he was stopped?
Yes, I did.
And what was his response?
He stated that he did not believe that he was traveling that fast.
Was that his only response?
According to the speed, yes. According to the reason of the stop, yes.
And what other observations did you make regarding him during your initial introduction?
I noticed that he had a very agitated demeanor. He had slurred speech. He had dilated pupils, and he seemed a little bit out of it. He seemed impaired to me.
And what did you tell the driver?
I informed him. I asked him where his itinerary was. I asked him where he was coming or where he was headed.
And was there anything unusual about his response?
He stated he was coming from Weslaco and headed to McAllen. Other than that, about that response, no, other than the slurred speech.
Was the driver oriented as to his location?
I asked him if he knew what city we were at the moment at the traffic stop. He did not know what city we were in. He had to look at his phone and look at the maps to see what city he was in.
And so so you said you observed that he was acting strangely?
Yes.
Can you be a little bit more specific?
Okay, so he had slurred speech. I would ask him questions and he would either answer them or not answer them. He would at times stare straight ahead with a fixed gaze and not answer any questions. He just seemed impaired to me. He did not seem like a sober driver.
How did he respond to your question?
Which question, sir?
In general.
He just responded to me with slurred speech. I'd have to go more into detail on which question.
Did you ask him if he had been drinking?
I did ask him if he had been consuming alcohol. He said he had not.
And so, officer, you are certified to conduct SFSTs, correct?
Yes, sir.
And were you certified on that day?
Yes, I was.
Did you ask him to perform the SFSTs?
I did.
And did he appear physically injured or incapable of conducting?
He did not. He did not.
Did he notify you of any physical or mental disabilities?
He stated that he had anxiety and PTSD.
But did he consent to taking the SFSTs?
Yes, he did. He did agree to conduct them.
And so let's focus on the horizontal gaze nystagmus. What did you observe? What test did you observe the defendant perform first?
I'm sorry?
Can you please tell the court about the horizontal gaze nystagmus?
Okay, so yes, this is the first test that we do in the standardized field sobriety test. It's the involuntary jerking as the eyes move to the side. I did notice 4 out of the 6 clues on the defendant's eyes while I administered the test.
And so what are those clues that you look for?
So the first one, do you want me to start from the beginning?
Sure, walk us through it.
Okay. So first, you have to see if they have equal pupil size to make sure that they're a proper candidate. Also, resting nystagmus, make sure that they do not have nystagmus while the eye is looking straight ahead. If that is present, it could be indicative of that he was involved in a major accident or things like that. He did not have resting nystagmus. Also, equal tracking. That is what you check for to see if they're a valid candidate to administer the horizontal gaze nystagmus. Then we check for equal tracking, which he did not have equal tracking. So that was 2 clues, one in the left, one in the right eye. We also checked for distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation. I did see those 2 clues on both the left and right eye. I did not see the third thing we look for is the onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. He did not have that present. Or the vertical gaze nystagmus. He did not have that present either.
And so did you demonstrate the test to the defendant before you conducted it?
I informed him that I would be moving my finger, which is a stimulus, from side to side, and he understood.
He understood. And so based on your observations, how many clues did you observe total?
I observed 4 out of the 6.
And which 4 were those?
It was lack of smooth pursuit and distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation.
Were there any additional observations made at this time?
Regarding the HGN test, no.
Okay. And so how would you describe his overall performance on that?
I did see the clues of intoxication in his eyes. Other than that, he did follow my finger appropriately, and he did stand in the position that I had instructed him to stand in properly.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the walk and turn. So
yes,
that's the test you perform next?
Yes, sir. That's the walk and turn.
And please tell the court about this test.
So this is a divided attention test. There are 8 clues on this one. The defendant did show 7 out of the 8 clues on this test.
But before you conducted the test on him, you did demonstrate it to him?
Oh yes, sir. The first stage is instruction phase. I showed him how to do it. In this occasion, I showed him twice because he requested me to show him again. So he was showed twice how to do the test before he conducted it himself.
But he indicated he understood how to perform it before he attempted it?
Yes, sir. Yes, so I asked him if he had any questions regarding the instructions and if he understood the instructions. He stated that he did understand and that he had no other questions regarding the instructions to the test.
All right, so, and based on your observations, how many clues did he display?
7 out of the 8 possible clues.
And which were?
So it was, he could not maintain his balance during the instruction phase. So, do you want me to list all the ones that I saw on him?
Well, which one did he not show?
The only one that he did not show was where he walked prior to me telling him to walk.
Okay. And did you make any additional observations during this time?
I did notice that he had a very, very unsteady balance. He almost fell. I believe it was a total of 5 times during the test. I ultimately had to end up stopping the test for his safety.
And did he indicate he wanted to continue the test multiple times? And
yes, sir. I attempted to stop it after the 4th time, and he was adamant that he wanted another chance to finish the test. I wanted to give him the chance that he requested. I did. After the 5th time where he almost fell, and I had to intervene, I determined that for his safety, he could not conduct the test anymore.
Understood. Okay, so then what test did you perform after that?
The one leg stand test.
And what can you tell the court about this test?
So it is another divided attention test that requires the defendant or the person that's having the test administered on them to raise one leg off the ground and maintain it off the ground until the person administering the test tells them to stop.
And What are some of the clues you look for?
Well, you look for if they put their foot down before the administrator tells them to stop. That's one clue. Also, swaying while he is balancing on the foot. That is also another clue. Using their arms for balance is another clue, and hopping is another clue.
And before you performed it, did you explain it to the defendant?
Yes, I explained the test.
And did he indicate he understood how to perform it?
Yes, sir. I asked him if he understood the instructions to the test, and he stated that he did.
And he agreed to perform it?
Yes, he did.
And based on your observations, how many clues did he display?
He displayed 3 out of the 4, which would be he uses his arm for balance, sways while balancing, and hopping.
Did you make any additional observations?
I noticed that he had a very bad balance during that too. I did know that he did put his foot down most of the time. However, I did not list that on my report. That was a mistake on my part. So actually, he had all 4 clues, yeah, but I made a mistake on there, and I only listed the 3 originals that I had put. But I did notice that he had terrible balance. He would put his foot down after almost every second.
So
and he hopped.
So overall, how did
he did not do as a sober person would have conducted a test.
And so overall, putting all 3 tests together, how would you say he did?
I'd say that he did unsatisfactorily. He showed him various clues, numerous clues of intoxication.
So at this point, had you developed an opinion as to whether he was intoxicated?
Yes, I did.
And do you believe that with your training and experience, the defendant had lost the normal use of his mental and physical faculties?
Yes, I do.
And at this point, did you decide to arrest the defendant?
Yes, I did.
What was the one thing that caused you to arrest the defendant, or what was the totality of the circumstances?
Everything from his, the speed that he was traveling at. I believe that he was not aware of the speed limit signs or even aware that he was traveling at that speed. The contact that I made with him, his reaction, the way he answered my questions, the slurred speech, and all the clues that I observed on the standardized field sobriety test.
Was a breath or blood sample obtained?
A blood sample was obtained through a search warrant.
And did something happen with that blood sample?
Yes, it did. It was a mistake on my part. When we left the hospital, I was going to place the defendant in the passenger seat of my vehicle. I mistakenly left the blood sample on the hood of my patrol unit. As we were headed to the county jail, I realized that I had left the blood on the hood. I did the turnaround on the expressway, and by the time I came back to frontage road where it had fell, another motorist had already ran the blood specimen over. It was picked up off the ground and placed in a sealed plastic bag. However, it's not submitted to evidence because it was compromised. And that was a mistake on my part.
Has this ever happened to you before?
This is the first time that has ever happened to me.
But does the lack of a sample change or affect any of your prior testimony?
No.
That he still was speeding at 109 miles an hour?
Yes.
He still displayed enough clues for your experience and training to indicate that he was intoxicated?
Yes, sir.
And this is what led you to make the arrest?
Yes, sir.
And were there any other incidents that happened on the way to the station?
On the way to the jail?
Yes.
Yeah, no, other than that, that was it.
And did that conclude your involvement in this case?
After he was booked into Douglas County Jail, I just did the report after that, and that was all I had to do.
Thank you, Trooper. Judge, I'm going to be tendering the video for this court's review as well.
All right, thank you. I have one just quick question. So, Trooper, you took a blood sample from the defendant at the roadside, or maybe I was not listening carefully enough?
No, sir, no. I'm sorry?
You said that the blood sample was placed by mistake on the hood of your vehicle, and then you drove away and it fell off, and then another motorist ran over it. Where did that happen?
Okay, so no, we went to the South Texas Health System emergency room in Alamo, which was the closest freestanding hospital. The blood sample was drawn there. When I left the parking lot from the ER is where I had placed the blood sample on the hood.
Okay.
Leaving there is where I noticed that I had left it there and when it had fell off.
And what led you to the South Texas Health System's building to get a blood sample? Was this one of those no refusal weekends and he was refusing? Or what led you to go there?
Well, he refused to provide a blood specimen. I believe he was under the influence of drugs. So I needed a blood specimen to figure out what type of drug was in his system.
Did you get a blood warrant?
Yes, I did.
All right. Mr. Longoria, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any follow-up questions? And you're on mute, Representative Longoria.
I'm ready to go, Your Honor. Can you
Go
hear me?
ahead. Yes.
Okay. Now, Trooper, you mentioned a moment ago that the reason you pulled over Mr. Rubio was because of speeding. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, what type of vehicle was he driving?
He was driving a white Chevrolet Spark.
It's a Chevrolet Spark. Now, was that vehicle, did it have any type of modifications, like, it may sound kind of funny, like nitrous or any type of engine mods or anything like that that you noticed?
I mean, I did not inspect under the hood of the vehicle, but nothing clearly apparent.
Oh, okay. Now, do you remember what engine it was? Because there's 3 models of the Chevy Spark.
No, I do not. Did not check to see the engine size.
Okay, there's an i3, an i4, and i412. And the reason I'm asking you this is not a single one of those versions goes over 99 miles per hour. Now, Trooper, is it a really small kind of vehicle, like a two-door car, kind of like one of those little smart cars, what it looks like?
It was a small passenger car.
It was a small 2-door passenger car?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on what I saw and what I looked up, that the vehicle doesn't go over 99 miles per hour, do you think maybe there could have been something wrong with your calibration on your radar?
I had checked the calibration when I started my shift, and it was working properly at that time.
How did you check your calibration, Trooper?
With my tuning forks.
With your tuning forks. Now, is this an in-dash radar or is this a hand radar?
It's an in-dash radar.
In-dash radar, okay. So if I tell you right now the vehicle wasn't modified and based on what the specifications, they don't go over 99 miles per hour, do you think maybe the car either was modified or do you think maybe the radar was wrong?
It could be possible that the car was modified. I did not check to see if it was modified or if it was not. As far as the radar goes, sorry?
So if the car was not modified, could the radar have been wrong? Because this may be the fastest Chevrolet Spark that exists if it wasn't modified.
Well, the radar passed the calibration in the morning.
Okay.
So other than that.
Okay, now you pulled him over and you said he pulled over when you initially turned on the lights. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you mentioned to him that it was an unsafe area, so you went and pulled over in another area to do your standard test. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Where did you guys go to do the test?
He exited the expressway and pulled into the parking lot of a place of business, the closest parking lot.
Okay, was it a smooth parking lot?
Yes, it was.
Okay, now you did a test on him and you went and looked at his pupils and dilation. Was he wearing contact lenses?
He stated that he was wearing contact lenses.
And does that affect the test in any manner or way?
It is preferable if they remove the contacts, but it does not affect the horizontal gaze nystagmus. The contacts do not show horizontal gaze nystagmus.
Then why is it preferred to remove the contacts?
It is preferred so that we can have a clearer view of the eye, but it is not necessary.
Okay, but it's preferred, but he did not remove them. That's correct.
No, sir.
Okay, now you said that he listened to you on your follow and stand. That's what you told the district attorney. So I guess he was obeying your orders. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, your audio cut out for a little bit at the beginning of that.
Sorry, Trooper. Was he able to listen to your orders and able to obey them as you were telling him to do things?
As far as the standardized field sobriety test, I don't know if you could rephrase the question.
Just strike it. I'll go and ask you another question. Now, for the walk test, he was wearing some pretty high boots. Do you recall?
Yes, he was wearing some boots with a heel.
How do you know about how high that heel was?
I did not measure it.
But was it a pretty high heel from what I saw in the video? Is that correct?
It was not high. It was a little bit higher than a flat-footed shoe.
Do you think maybe that affected his performance?
I asked him if he wanted to either change shoes or, take them off. He stated that he wanted to conduct a test with those shoes.
No, I understand he wanted to conduct the test with the shoes, but do you think that may have affected his performance on the walking
I don't know
track?
how he feels with those shoes. I asked him if he was comfortable with those shoes, and he stated that he was comfortable with those shoes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that he was a little bit agitated, and I know that there's a portion where there's a resisting arrest charge as well. And you mentioned PTSD. Can you explain why you mentioned PTSD? What did the defendant tell you?
Well, when I asked him if he had any medical conditions, that's what he answered with. He said he had anxiety and PTSD, and that he was taking medication for it.
Now, there was a portion of the arrest where I believe you guys, he got a little bit agitated, and that's where the resisting arrest portion came out. But do you recall him telling you any reason why he did not want you touching him?
No.
And no, I mean, I saw the video based on the, he's had some prior issues that he's trying to get through,
Okay.
and I think he mentioned to you specifically, some really personal things. And do you recall any of that at all?
I don't recall if I asked him specifics about PTSD. I haven't watched the video. It's been over a year, so I don't recall that specific moment.
Okay. So you take him over to South Texas Health Systems, and you get that warrant from, I believe it was Judge Terry Palacios, and ultimately, the blood sample fell off the hood of the car, and it was run over by another motor vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, just because Mr. Rubio refused his breath test, does that make him intoxicated?
Just because he refused it?
Yes.
Just a refusal is not indicative of intoxication. That's his right to refuse.
Okay, it's his right to refuse. And then, I mean, I'm really going back to this speeding issue. I'm very confused because based on what I saw in the Chevrolet Spark, I don't think it can go to 109 miles an hour. So I don't know whether this was a modified vehicle or whether there was something lacking with the calibration of that radar gun. Judge, at this time, I pass the witness.
Mr. Heller, do you have any follow-up questions?
Not at this time, Judge.
All right. Do you all anticipate needing to recall Trooper Rohan?
I do not.
No,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Trooper, then you're excused from this hearing unless you care to continue to be logged on. And thank you for your service and be safe.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Does the state have any other additional witnesses to call?
No, Judge.
Does the defense have any additional witnesses to call?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then I will allow Representative Longoria, I'll give you maybe 2 minutes to close.
Yes, Judge. Well, Judge, I mean, if you look at the probable cause was based on the speeding, and I think it's important to look at the issue that Chevrolet Spark, based on what I looked at on the specifications, cannot go over 99 miles per hour. And he was clocked at 109. Based on my conversation with Mr. Rubio, his car was not modified. There was nothing done to the engine. So I think that there's an issue concerning that. He pulled over. As soon as he was told to pull over, it was an unsafe area. He went, followed directions, went to the parking lot. He went ahead and conducted the test. He had contact lenses on, which I believe does impact pupil dilation. Not to mention he had some high boots that would have made it incredibly difficult for anyone to do a walk and turn test, but he wanted to do them and didn't feel he was intoxicated. There was an issue concerning the PTSD, and I don't want to touch too much about it, but Mr. Rubio's been through some things in his life, and he specifically mentioned that to the officers when they were kind of getting close to him, saying, hey, this is really affecting me. And I think that's important to take note of. He refused, was taken over to South Texas Health Systems, took the blood sample, and ultimately the sample was destroyed through no fault of Mr. Rubio. And we asked that this motion to suppress be granted, Judge, based on all the facts and based on law.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Longoria. Mr. Heller, your response?
Judge, everything passed after that comes after the speeding issue is moot at this point. That's for questions for the jury to determine whether or not he was intoxicated or not. Whether or not he has emotional issues, that's something for the jury to consider. That's not going to prevent the fact that he did not perform well on the SFSTs. That plays more into the actual arrest and the resisting arrest charge that is also pending. Now, as far as the vehicle, we do not know at this time if it was modified or not modified. that's something that needs to be looked into and it needs to be investigated. The officer testified that the radar was calibrated properly. He had done it that morning. He'd done it every other morning. And at this time, it's all about the radar and whether or not we need to figure out whether or not his car is modified or not modified.
Okay. So ultimately, the question is this, and Representative LaGuardia, you have stated that your client has testified that it hasn't been, that the vehicle wasn't modified. He hasn't testified to that. Your client hasn't been placed under oath. I don't know if you want to place him under. I don't know if you want to place him under oath for that limited conversation of just that, whether there's been any modifications done. Is
Yes,
that
Judge.
something you're comfortable doing?
I feel comfortable with that, Judge.
All right. Mr. Rubio, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Can I have you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Longoria, I'll allow you to ask questions, and Mr. Heller, any follow-up, but limited only to the modification of the vehicle.
Christian, on the date of the arrest, which was December 12th, 2020, what vehicle were you operating?
It was my Chevy Spark.
Okay. Do you know which type of Chevy Spark you have? Because there's two versions.
I want to say it's a 2.4. It's a 2020.
Okay, it's a 2020. Yeah, it's okay. So have you modified that vehicle at all?
No, I haven't done anything to it since I got in it.
Okay, now have you gotten, okay, pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Heller.
Judge, respectfully, before we question this witness, I'd like to say that this is an issue for the jury. This is a fact issue for the jury to decide and find whether or not his credibility whether or not he's credible and whether or not his testimony regarding the modification of his car is credible.
The only problem with this, Mr. Heller, is that I gave you the opportunity to question the officer one follow-up time and ask him whether or not in his observation he was speeding. You could determine speeding by pacing. You could determine speeding by the device, and you didn't ask that question. I was waiting for you to ask that question. So at this point, the question is whether or not the vehicle was modified. And if you don't have any follow-up questions, that's fine. He stated that it's not modified. If I were you, I would have asked the questions to the trooper. What was the posted speed limit? I think he said it was 75, and was a vehicle traveling over 75 based on your observation? But you didn't. So he's basing it only on the device. And if the device is showing it to be at 109, I think that's a legal question, not a fact question. So it is for the court to determine that whether or not the vehicle can even travel at 109.
Well, Judge, the trooper did testify that he observed the vehicle's speed going faster than the posted speed limit.
Based on his, but he only said it was based on his observation, based on his device. He didn't say it based on his observation.
He said that's what led him to use his device.
Okay, well, I can go back and look at the. I'll go back and ask for a short little transcript of the hearing, and just, it was a short hearing. It won't last very long. I can ask Ms. Lopez to give it to me. But anything else?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, so no other questions. Okay.
No questions.
All right. Let me go ahead and give you a reset. Is there a video in this? And do you have any problem, Mr. Longoria, if the court reviews the video?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I believe Mr. Garcia has the video here. I'll take a look at it. Okay. Let me give you a reset date on this case. Let's do February 15th at 9:30.
Judge.
Yes.
Regarding my breathalyzer, would I still be having to do that? It's something that's been really taking a lot of my money.
Yes. We can handle that later.
Yeah. And the companion case is also going to be the same day, February the 15th at 9:30. Okay, we'll see you there.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Anna, yes. So the court's going to go ahead and log off at this time from YouTube.